You're lucky that lightsabers aren't real.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bill.
I'm Justin.
And welcome to Car Reviews
Live.
Special edition, right?
So,
Live from a car in some random theater.
So in the past we've done these recorded and put up on YouTube. We always seem to go over 15 minutes, which is the maximum a video from your phone can be to be uploaded to YouTube. From my phone, if you do it through like an editing software, you could get away with more, but I think this way it'll be easier. Plus, there's options of your interaction. So if you want to interact with us, you can leave a comment down below, and maybe we'll see it. We'll see. This is the first time we're doing this.
And if
we
you want
have no idea what we're doing.
And hey, if you want to ask us any questions, please feel free.
This will be spoiler free. We'll be doing a spoiler corner in a little bit.
Are we gonna be? Is that gonna be live, or we're just gonna record that? Or we'll think about it.
We'll think about it.
Okay, so we just saw. I think you can guess what we just saw. We saw Wonder.
Wow, how'd you know I was gonna make that joke?
I'm psychic. Oh, come on, you won't.
Jedi mind tricks, man. Jedi mind tricks.
Oh, come on, you all know what we saw. Dun 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 dun. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And okay, this review's gonna be a little tough, wouldn't you say?
So, the thing with Star Wars movies nowadays is they're really good with their marketing in that they don't tell you the plot. Like, they did it with The Force Awakens, that you didn't know anything about the movie until you actually saw the movie. And this movie's the same way, so we're just going to be giving you guys a general layout of the
Like, we'll
plot.
talk about the plot, we'll talk about
the characters, what's good, what's bad,
and everything in between.
Okay, so the plot.
Okay, the plot, the First Order is still reigning.
The First Order pretty much destroyed the New Republic.
Yes, to destroy the New Republic.
Which was seen in the last movie.
Yeah, and now the Rebellion, or the Resistance. Sorry about that. Sorry, Star Wars fans, please forgive me. The Resistance is now basically starting from scratch. And if you saw the last movie, Rey, our new heroine, left to go find Luke Skywalker. And she asked him for his help, and he basically refuses.
So now it's Luke and Rey trying to... It's Rey trying to get Luke to teach her. Luke is very reluctant. He wants the Jedi Order to end. And it's... At the same time, Finn is on a mission to buy the Resistance time to escape, and Poe is trying to get answers as to why nothing's getting done.
This is
a very complex Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It's probably the most complex Star Wars movie since The Empire Strikes Back.
Justin, I'm going to have to ask you for forgiveness on this one. There were times I got a little out of it, but...
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people actually feel this way, so...
And I don't think it's bad by any means.
No, it's not a bad movie. It's not.
No.
It's actually a really, really well done movie.
Yeah.
But...
I feel like in some ways they were trying to recreate The Empire Strikes Back.
So, George Lucas had a quote that the Star Wars movies are like poetry.
Yeah.
They're supposed to rhyme.
Yeah.
So, with The Force Awakens, they were taking too much from other movies, and it felt more like a callback to some.
Yeah.
With this one, I feel like it had more of an identity, though.
Really?
I feel. Yeah. So, I felt like character moments were different enough.
Yeah.
Motivations were different enough.
Mm-hmm.
No one got frozen carbonite.
Yeah.
And no one really lost a limb.
I feel the reason why I feel that it's the same. Rey goes out to a reclusive Jedi.
Which we knew was going to happen.
Yeah. But just like in The Empire Strikes Back, how Luke went out to Yoda.
But the difference...
Small spoiler, Yoda does make an appearance.
Okay, yes, he does, but...
We'll get more into detail on that in Spoiler Corner.
The difference is... Yoda still had faith in the Jedi ways.
Yes.
Luke is all out of faith, in hope, in everything. He's a begrudged old man. He's broken.
But he's still but he was still having faith in the sacred Jedi text and all that, though.
After a moment of weakness where he was about to destroy him.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler.
And I don't know why it usually does that.
So, let's talk about the characters.
Okay.
So, Rey is amazing.
I like Rey.
So many people think she's a Mary Sue.
Okay, what really is a Mary Sue? I've heard that term before, but...
A Mary Sue is a character that seems too perfect. And in the first one, I can kind of see that. In this, she's confused. She doesn't know her place. She's scared of these new powers, which...
It's your typical fish out of water story sometimes.
Not exactly. It's... So, imagine that you're Superman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, after spending years on Earth, not knowing that there was anything wrong with you, your superpowers just kick in like that.
Yeah.
That would kind of scare you, right?
Well, it would scare the shit out of me.
So, with Rey, she's not used to having all this power. Something awoke in her, and we're talking about raw strength.
Yeah.
Something that we discover in this movie is her control over the Force is stronger than anything we've really seen before. That her connection is super strong and super raw, which allows her to be a little more powerful than an average Jedi.
Yeah.
And even in the trailers, I've seen powers I've seen raw strength like this before. It didn't scare me then. It scares me now. So we see a little more with that. And in terms of raw strength, she's probably on par with Kylo Ren.
Yeah, she is.
Luke Skywalker.
What can we say about him? Here, he's become basically, like what Justin said earlier, the begrudged old man who's basically lost faith in... Okay, I really hate to use this comparison. I am so sorry. Justin, you can smack me as hard as you can for this one.
Okay.
You're excited for this one, aren't you?
Go ahead.
Okay, everyone stay with me. Who's seen the Disney movie Hercules?
Oh, Jesus.
Stay with me. I'm going to make a point. when Hercules goes out to seek the help from Phil, Danny DeVito's character, he's like, leave me alone, kid. 2 words. I'm retired. And Hercules goes, come on, you gotta train with us. No. Beast, you gotta admit I did not make a bad comparison here. It's not my best, but definitely not my worst.
It's a little more complex than that, though, because...
But yeah, in this one, it's more complex because he's basically, Hamill himself has basically lost faith.
Skywalker.
Oh, sorry. Skywalker himself has basically lost faith in the Jedi, and he just says this is just a small spoiler, a line that he said. He goes, I've come here to die.
And at first you really don't know why he's this way. He thinks, because in the first movie you think, because one student went bad and slaughtered all of the Jedi except for him, and that's why he's that way. No. Because he blames himself for Kylo Ren. And his arc in this, something I never expected. Luke Skywalker's character to go down. Mm-hmm. It's a story arc that Mark Hamill himself said he would never expect Luke to go down. But this is now the canon. And a decision was made with Luke's character that could be seen controversial to some.
Because in the original, he was seen as like that symbol of hope.
And in this, they're trying to regain that, but Luke himself is like, no, hope's dead. But as a performance, what did you think of Hamill?
I think he did really good.
Okay.
I think he did pretty good. I enjoyed him. And there were actually some comedic moments that he
has some... Well, he's the Joker. So, he has a really good sense of humor.
He's the clown prince of crime, right?
The clown prince of crime! As he likes to say so frequently in interviews. I love watching his interviews.
By the way, my friend actually met Mark Hamill at New York City Comic Con.
And I am internally jealous.
See, he's a nice guy.
Oh, I bet he is. Blunt as hell, though.
What'd you say?
Blunt as hell, though, from what I've seen in, interviews and press stuff.
Okay, what other characters should we talk about?
Kylo Ren.
Okay, in this one... he is the bad guy, but he's
more complex.
They just didn't make him, as you know.
As tantrumy.
How they basically portrayed Anakin in
the prequels.
In the prequels. Everyone calm down.
It's not that bad. In fact, it's nowhere near as bad. In fact, I would say he was more prequel-y in The Force Awakens than he was in this.
Yeah. But you know how they portrayed him as just like an angsty teenager? Here
you get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Just a little.
You don't really see him with his mask on,
No, I think... Okay, so here's my thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
In Force Awakens, he was sort of trying to become the new Darth Vader.
Yes.
And in this, at first, he seems to be doing that. But then, he becomes his own character. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
He does something in this movie, which I'm not going to spoil, that sort of sets him out from any other villain we've seen in the Star Wars movies yet. Except maybe one, but what he did was off screen and this one was on screen. And when we get to spoilers, I'll say what that was.
Yeah. So, yeah. Kylo Ren, I think he was pretty good in this one. But I missed some of the raw,
Anger?
Yeah,
No,
I missed...
No, I feel like this is the route we wanted to go because...
Making him more complex?
Because here's the thing. What we see in this sort of gives explanation to why he was so raw.
Yeah.
Especially with what Luke Skywalker said, what happened with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this happening, and I say, okay, now I kind of get it. I get why it was this way.
The other characters you just want to kind of breeze through, or you want to just go time by it?
Alright, so Poe Dameron.
I think he's pretty entertaining.
Oscar Isaac is always such a charming actor, and he's very entertaining in this.
Yeah, because, like, in The Force Awakens, he was only in, like, the first act and...
In the last act.
Yeah.
In this, he's in there for all of it. He's got some really good lines, too.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning. I'm like...
And, of course, I gotta talk about him briefly. His little buddy. Guess who I mean?
BB-8.
Oh, my God. He's awesome.
BB-8 is... what, like I said in the Force Awakens review, I'll say again, like, he's kind of steals the show in every scene he's in, and he is the new R2.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that in the best way possible because I loved R2, and, I love BB-8. I'm on the BB-8 train.
Who else?
Finn. Have to talk about Finn.
Again, like, he's really not the focus.
He's not the focus, but in this one, I feel like he's given more to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, he's put on, like, a side quest mission, which I feel he didn't really need that much. But what he does, like, in the second half of the movie, I feel like was his crowning moment of his character arc so far.
Yeah.
And when we get to spoilers, again, it's very hard to talk about this movie. So, Laura Dern's character, what you really think?
Who was Laura Dern?
The purple hair woman.
The like Vice Admiral.
Yeah, the Vice Admiral.
I thought for a while, I'll be honest, I just really thought she was kind of a bitch. Just like, oh, I'm in charge, you gotta listen to me. But I thought, like, towards the end, again, this is a very hard movie to talk about without spoilers.
Her redeeming act.
Which, again, we'll talk more about in Spoiler Corner.
So,
I thought she redeemed herself at the end.
Okay.
But, what did you think with her? Like, I thought her acting was pretty good, but...
Like, I thought pretty similar to what you're thinking.
And I thought it was kind of phoned in a little. I wouldn't say phoned in. I really don't know to pick the right words right now.
So, I'll say this.
Yeah.
The first viewing, I liked her less than I did after this viewing. Because I saw this movie yesterday. Seeing it again today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going into this movie knowing what's going to happen. With that said, Benicio del Toro's character, the Codebreaker.
He was the
Codebreaker, the guy that joined Finn and Rose.
I didn't think much about him. I thought he was, okay, but I thought he gave, like, a decent performance. And, like, again, I'm sorry, it's just really hard to talk about this without spoilers, but I didn't really think much of him. Like, I don't think, like, he had a somewhat significant part, because,
Yeah.
but I don't think it was a performance that I would really be, focusing on.
Right.
Because, am I making any sense here?
No, I get you, but I'm also trying to talk about the character.
Yeah. I thought he was, I thought he was good. I thought he was, That's what I'm going to say.
There's some things in this movie, and I want to talk a little more about themes. So, with themes in this movie, I feel there's more complexity to it, because something we see with the business.
You forgot about Rose.
Yes. Well, I want to remember this, so we'll talk briefly about Rose. What'd you think of her?
I thought she was kind of charming.
Yeah, she had a charm to her.
Yeah.
What I like about her is she will be a fangirl.
Yeah.
But
she could whoop your ass.
Okay, that's not what I was going for, but okay. She knows her values, and she'll stick by her values, even if it means going against her heroes, which we saw in the first third of this movie. She was, I think, a welcomed addition to the film. And briefly, I also want to talk about Carrie Fisher, the late great Carrie Fisher.
May she rest in peace. We love you, Carrie.
She also had a jadedness to her, similar to Luke, but she still had hope, which would come and go and stuff like that. So
it was kind of it was kind of bittersweet seeing her on screen, knowing that she's gone.
Yeah.
But I think she did a good performance, and you know what, I'm kind of happy that in her most famous character that this was her last performance.
One thing that kind of took me out of the movie, though.
What?
And it was in the first third of the movie. She does something,
which we'll talk about,
that makes me go, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about it later, but it's bizarre, it's goofy, and nearly goes into prequel territory of...
Yeah. Okay, so themes. You want to talk about themes?
So, this sort of goes into the economics of war.
Mm-hmm.
How people make money, people benefit from both sides of war by selling to both sides of war.
Yes, they do talk about that.
And that's a very harsh truth about war.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of good examples of that happening in real life. I'm sure you'd probably be able to figure that out better than I can, but I'm sure that happens in real life.
When people benefit from
war in general and selling to both sides.
Yeah, how like in even modern day with a lot of defense contractors and how they sell to like either side.
There's no loyalty with war to these people. Only
it's like no matter whose side you're on,
you're winning.
Your
just
money
by...
your money is the same color as the other guy.
Exactly, and that's a scary thing to think about. And this movie,
kind of a dickish thing to think.
And this movie sort of highlights that, and I think that was like one of the few things that came out of Finn's. I'm gonna start calling it Finn's quest.
Mm-hmm. You know what's another theme that I saw? Do you have another theme, or can I talk?
Go ahead.
Okay, when we said about the sacred text with Luke, and this is a small scene, but it's not really a huge one. Like when Yoda comes out, and he goes, "I burned the sacred text." He goes, "Yeah, those were real page turners." Like, if you look on the internet, there's also a lot of in common things with Star Wars, say with religious institutions like
Religion.
the Catholic, like especially the Catholic Church. Like, if you've noticed, like the hoods the Jedis wear, that is supposed to be resemblance of what Franciscan friars wear.
Right.
And of course, how like Jedis can't fall in love. That's the same, based off the celibacy of Catholic priests and Buddhist monks.
Yeah.
But I would say like that could kind of, with the talking to Yoda, I could kind of say it kind of could represent like the modern day ideological battle that's going on right now. And I don't think this was the intention of the directors, but I can kind of see it could kind of be a symbolism of the modern day ideological battle of the Catholic Church. How like you have Yoda could kind of represent more like Pope Francis, being more like
it's time to
change a little bit, and Luke represents like the old school traditional, Pope Benedict Catholics who are like, no, we got to stick with tradition.
But that also kind of contradicts to Luke's character in this movie.
Oh, did I make a bad point? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't make a bad point. It's an interesting point.
Yeah.
In that scene, it does seem like that, but consider like the Luke's arc in this film. He loses faith in the Jedi ways. Like he was gonna burn them anyway, just so the Jedis could end. So yeah, like I do see what you're going for.
Yeah, because like in that moment, I think Luke comes to his senses.
He does, and then Yoda's like, "Bullshit! I'm dropping thunder on this." Boom.
And like I said, I think that can kind of represent the ideological battle that's going on in the Catholic Church. Again, I don't think that was the intention of, what's the director's name?
Rian Johnson.
I don't think that was Rian Johnson's or J.J. Abrams' intention, but I think that could somewhat be interpreted. Basically,
possibly.
Modernism versus traditionalism.
It's possible. Next, I want to talk about the look of this film, because
Looks
this
great.
is a beautiful film. Beautiful, absolutely stunning to look at. Of course, Star Wars has always been stunning to look at, even in the prequels, even though the prequels looked a little... Well, they were pretty to look at.
Yes.
Even if they were a little heavy on CGI.
Yeah.
They were still pretty to look at. This had sets. Real sets. There's CGI in this movie, but it's blended in with these sets, and they're beautiful. Like the Supreme Leader's throne room is this scarlet blood red color that's fading, and it's just...
It looked great.
And then when they're on that planet with the salts and with like the red dirt and all that, those flyers going in, and they're ripping up the gravel, and it's this red dirt cloud.
It looked great.
It's such a stunning movie. The cinematography
is beautiful,
and it feels different from even the last movie, Force Awakens. It's funny that with different directors, even if it's the same franchise, the movies are still going to have trademarks of whoever's directing it.
What do you mean they're still going to have trademarks?
Like, J.J. Abrams movies will always have lens flares. And Rian Johnson, I haven't really watched a Rian Johnson movie. The only movie I really know from him are Looper and Brick. I've never seen those movies, but...
Was that the car?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Why didn't J.J. Abrams direct this movie?
Well, the plan was that each movie were going to be directed by a different director.
Okay.
Abrams directed the first one. Johnson directed this one, and the next one would have been directed by Colin Trevorrow, but he dropped out because he hang on a sec. Sorry. So Trevorrow dropped out because one, Book of Henry, which was the movie he directed this year, didn't do well, and well, he just didn't direct it. He's not directing it, so they got Abrams back. So that's where we are now.
So
all in all, final verdict.
I liked it.
Was it better than The Force Awakens?
Shite.
You knew that question was coming.
Yeah. I haven't watched The Force Awakens in a while, so... Well, what did you think? I kind of did like The Force Awakens a little better, but I did like this movie. It was enjoyable, and I did enjoy the complexity of it.
So, to me, The Force Awakens was a movie to prove to the fans that they can still make a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Because I think right after, whatchamacallit,
Revenge of the Sith.
I think people thought Star Wars is dead.
Yeah, for the Revenge of the Sith, while it was the best of that trilogy, was still...
Which is not saying much.
It was still...
It's like saying you're the tallest kid in kindergarten.
It was still a subpar Star Wars movie.
Yes.
With this movie, with The Last Jedi, I feel like, yeah, there are comparisons to Empire and to Return of the Jedi, I felt. But it had its own identity.
No Ewoks, though.
No Ewoks, just porgs.
My friend, really quick, one of my friends, he just posted on his Facebook page, I love Ewoks.
So,
God bless you.
With this movie, after watching it for a second time,
yeah,
I think that I can sleep easy tonight by giving it 2 thumbs up.
I liked it.
It was a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
I would gladly watch it again, though probably not in theaters this time because it can get expensive.
Oh yeah, it can.
So next review, I guess, Jumanji.
Maybe. I don't know yet. We're gonna have to, maybe Jumanji. Listen, we don't know if we have anything slated for, like, it's probably most likely gonna be Jumanji. We don't have anything set yet, but we are gonna try to get you something before the year ends, right?
If not Jumanji, then we'll do like a retrospective of the year.
Well, we were going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
And we're going to have, quoting John Lennon and Paul McCartney, we're going to have a little help from my friend.
Okay. So, that was our review.
And
we hope you liked it, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
Always.